Okay, Anne-Marie, thank you so much for being here with us. So how did awareness of PSD come into your life in the first place?
There is a business owner and podcaster who I listen to who's been talking about Dr. Valerie's work and the book for a while. So that's how I became aware that it was out there. So it was in the back of my mind.
It was back there. Awesome. And after having kind of read the book, what drew you to attend the Thriving Experience, the actual virtual live event?
Well, it actually went the other way around. I saw less than a week before the Thriving Experience was being offered that it was out there. It had been shared by somebody different. Somebody on social media shared it. And I just kind of followed my intuition on it. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Book so that I would feel ready for the experience. But it's something that I was really reluctant to do. And as soon as I claimed it and decided that I would be there, it got stronger and I got really excited to join.
I see you're meeting that initial reluctance, prison guard, like, ah.
Yes.
And once you really stepped in, it was like, awesome.
Yes.
Beautiful. And what were you hoping to get out of it once you sort of got that intuitive yes and sort of stepped in?
I wasn't really sure. I guess I was coming kind of skeptical even still. I'm wondering about my career path and if it's time to make a change and kind of feeling out some of my options for that and just feeling out a lot of transitional things in my life right now. And I was just hoping to get a little more in touch with my intuition around those things, but I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So it was really more almost like trying to get more clarity in this transitional place, more of that intuitive clarity.
Yes.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. Potent time.
Mm-hmm.
Transitional time. Love it. Okay. And what reservations did you have maybe about before committing to it or that were kind of coming up as you were orienting them?
Well, first of all, it's a big time commitment. And the way our family is structured, my husband's work schedule overlapped with most of it. So I was going to be home with 2 kids.
That's
trying
heroic.
to do this. So first and foremost was the big, I don't have time for that. And then otherwise, like my reservations are just around the word patriarchy. I haven't comfortably come to accept that word as an actual thing that exists, or maybe it kind of exists, but there's bigger and worse problems or something along those lines. So the idea of being surrounded by people who are all in on it and whatever you might call man hating, which isn't even accurate to what I was thinking beforehand, but I think that's kind of the tone of my reluctance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, hearing Paige, I'd be like, oh, is this going to be this anti-male kind of like, yeah, no, totally. Get that being a reluctance. And it's, with that and with being kids at home, solo, which is very impressive, by the way, to have navigated it with them. Is there anything else that could have prevented you from being there?
Not really. I mean, the first day I showed up, and then I was all in after that. If that hadn't been such a fantastic experience, I probably would have not bothered with wasting my time. To be blunt.
Yeah.
But no, there was nothing else really holding me back. The fact that you guys were offering it for free was just so phenomenal and so generous because it was something that was worth $1 million, and I could never have justified spending money on doing it from that point where I was beforehand. Right. I would not have put the value there.
Right. Oh, thank you for that. I'm so glad. I mean, that's part of why we're offering it, because we know once you experience it, it has a different, that's differently. Beautiful. And what kind of, my favorite part, what kind of breakthroughs, realizations, shifts, ahas, like what kind of things for you?
I find it really hard to say about everything that happened. I feel like it was like the before and the after. There was so much that shifted. But one thing that I was telling Dr. Valerie about when I met with her earlier this week, and I found just mind-blowing and very exciting, was after that Friday afternoon for me, it was all the afternoon. It was 3 hours. And then I went to bed and I digested it and thought it through. And then the next morning I went for my exercise. And before I went out for a run, I actually stepped on my scale 3 times that morning, checking to see, had I dropped another 1/10 of a pound just by taking a shower or just waiting a little longer before breakfast, or whatever craziness was going on in my head. Like, that's our relationship to our bodies in this patriarchal stress.
Yeah.
And that's been my relationship to my body. And I've never had a full-on eating disorder, but I don't have a fully positive relationship to my body, right? So what happened was, that morning I stepped on the scale 3 times, and then I went out for my run. And as I was running, I was considering everything that had come up the day before and what was going on. And that morning, and I just, like, something clicked. And I was like, that's stupid. I never ever want to know what I weigh again.
Wow.
I want to eat the food and choose healthy foods because the food I choose feels good. I want to go out for a run because I enjoy going out for a run. I want to go do my yoga because it feels like my body wants to move in that way. And I don't care what the number on the scale could be. And I even took it further. I was like, we wear clothes and they're designated sizes 6, 8, 7, whatever their sizes are, or small, medium, and large. And that only exists because of industrialization, which is part of the patriarchy. Like, if we were just making clothes, we would just see if the fabric was the right size and sew it to fit, and nobody would question if you were the right or wrong size. So after that run, I made up my mind, and I haven't stepped on the scale since, and I don't ever want to step on the scale again, because I just stopped caring.
Oh, wow.
Because it's not the measure that actually defines me in any way, really. So that was my hugest breakthrough. And that was after only 3 hours of working with Dr. Valerie.
She does that. Massive transformation, even in small doses. Yeah. Yes. Wow. So first of all, massive celebrations for you. That's such a huge liberation from that core patriarchy pattern prison strain. Like, that's huge. So thank you. Thank you. Amazing work. Yeah, totally. Huge doors open in terms of what becomes possible. Awesome. And wow, yeah, that was a big one. Any other highlights in there? I know there was a lot that kind of transpired over the weekend.
It was so good to be in that group of women. Just everybody there was so beautiful and positive and uplifting. And the conversation is the kind of conversation that I crave and I don't feel like I get enough of. And that was just all fantastic. And then some of the exercises that we did, I don't even feel like I want to go into it, except to say that they were really profound.
Oh, I'm so glad. Beautiful. So I'm glad it was as transformative for you, and I'm just feeling you. It's amazing. Beautiful work. And just as you're with these different shifts, what does that make possible for you in your life? What becomes more possible?
I think I'm still finding out. I think I'm still in transition. I still haven't figured out what's happening next. I'm closing up the school year. I'm in education, so I'm doing my day job and all that. I'm just more open-minded. Right now, I would say I've just become a lot more open-minded. And I've looked around at the friends that I have, and I've asked myself, like, about the people who I've over the years had conversations that led in this direction. How can I ignite those conversations and get closer to those people, and also call in more people like that into my life? And so that's the direction I've taken it. I've reached out to a few friends and asked them if they'd be interested in reading the book and doing it too. So we'll see what comes of it. I'm really
beautiful. So empowering and kind of creating your own community and circles. Yep. Awesome. So good. So good. And it just sounds like from what you're saying, like just the space of what could be because you're in this
Mhm.
transition where you don't know what will be, but it sounds like what could be possible is sort of just like opened up in your field.
Right. Yep.
That's big. That's awesome. Okay. And then just, any other highlights from the weekend?
It was just one after another. So
Okay.
I couldn't even pick.
We can leave it with that. And if you were speaking to more of like your past self or another woman who is considering whether to commit to the event or not, what would you say to her?
Well, at the first session, we took a moment to envision ourselves at the end of the weekend and envision ourselves saying thank you for taking the time and doing the work and being there. And that was really powerful, because then at the end of the weekend, I just like felt that presence and shift between myself and each end of it. And I think if you can make the time for this, you are just preparing for a phenomenal shift, just opening up to it, and it's well worth it.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate it. That's beautiful. And you've shared so much good stuff and so many big openings. I'll just turn over the mic one more time. Is there anything else you wanting to speak to or share? I know you've already said a lot. If you could be totally done right here, that's plenty. Just want to.
I think I'm done right there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for all the amazing work, and excited for that transition you're in. Just feel like you're just huge opening possibilities, and so excited. Excited for
You're
you.
excited. I'm excited too.
It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Thank you.